Welcome, everyone. I wanted to first start off by saying I hope everyone is safe and healthy and doing the best they can in this very interesting time that we're facing. And that's partly why I wanted to take a moment to follow up on what Azam was saying and how I introduce myself. So let me move on to the next slide here. So why do I introduce myself in that way? Because I want all the women and men out there to understand that you can have it all. Especially for women, we often tend to put a lot of limitations in ourselves, or think that we're just one thing or one aspect, like we are the mom for our children, or we are the wife, or we are just one role. And what I really want to put out there is that there are no limitations to what you can achieve. You can have it all. And all the limitations that you put are just, those that you put onto yourself. There's really no limits. And you are not just one thing. You're not just your job title, or mother or wife or daughter. You are really the culmination and integration of a million little parts and aspects put together that make you you. There's really no one else like you, and there never will be. So I know this whole webinar is premised on the topic of women in cybersecurity, but I really wanted to make this a motivational and an inspirational type of webinar for women in general, but in any male-dominated field, such as cybersecurity. So I hope you really get the most out of this, not just in the cyber field, but just in general, just being a woman or having women in your lives. And so if you're a male out there, I'm sure you have women in your lives. In fact, the fact that you were born says so. So just wanted to put that out there. And really, as women, the first step we need to take is to understand ourselves first so that we can achieve our dreams. So the webinar is designed for women and men, for you to understand that, all the struggles and unique challenges that women face in the world today are there to help us get through them, go through them, and come out of it successfully, so that it makes us stronger at the end of the day, and we can achieve whatever we put out there. Okay, so a lot of people ask me, how did I get to where I am today, and did I have any challenges growing up? And I wanted to just take, a moment to talk about my challenges. And because I know that everyone faces challenges, especially women. They face very unique challenges that may not exist in the being a male. So I had to overcome a lot of childhood trauma. Not going to go too much into that, but just the fact that having overcome that, there's nothing that can come my way that I feel to this day that I can't overcome. And being a first-generation immigrant, coming to the United States and living here, sometimes I did feel like I was living a double life. And I know many women face that challenge, as well as males as well, where you come to a different country and you still want to uphold the values of your own culture, but yet you have to face the challenges in your new environment and in your culture, and try to be one with that as well. Every field that I've actually been in has been male-dominated fields. I graduated in electrical engineering back in '96 graduated in 2000. Of course, it was a male-dominated field then, and it's still a male-dominated field now. And I was one of two minority females in my entire class. I also always felt that I really needed to prove myself to others, and also prove things to myself as well. So being a woman, I know we all tend to feel sometimes that we are not good enough, or we have the imposter syndrome, which we'll talk about in a future slide. I really had to overcome that and really understand myself and my self-worth so that I stopped feeling the need to prove myself to others, or be follow their expectations of me. Um, there's a few health challenges that I had to overcome, especially after the birth of my third child, which was just about 3 years ago, and it really did take all 3 years to overcome those challenges. I had to basically defy the odds that the doctors had put on me, and really take the time to understand the mind body connection and how mindset is everything. Everything starts with your mindset. And if you're able to recognize that and realize that there's nothing that can come in your way that you can't overcome yourself. Um, so conquering home life and kids, this is a struggle that a lot of women face. In There comes a time in their life where they might think that they have to choose between a career and kids, and just taking care of just things at home, and maybe your spouse even. And I really wanted to encourage all women out there that you don't have to choose. If you do make that choice, that's up to you, but it doesn't always have to be one or the other. You can have it all. It's all about mindset. It's all about um, strategizing, communicating. All of these skills come together with that, and just being able to manage and lead, at work, at home, and really wherever I went. There's a lot of expectations that are put on women, and it's almost a thought of as a guaranteed sometimes that, oh, if you're a mom, you just automatically know exactly what to do, how to manage your kids, how to manage your spouse, how to manage your home, and be able to do it all perfectly. And that was a lot of pressure that I had put on myself as well, that I always felt that I had to be perfect, I had to do it all, and be really good at everything that I'm doing, and never fail. And the reason why I tell you these things is just to normalize, to a certain point, to the best of our abilities, that all of us are facing similar kinds of challenges in our lives, or similar battles, as we call it. But really, these are all the things that really make us stronger. The key is to get through them, have that positive mindset, because if you look at the right side, once you get through these, or as you get through these, they definitely do shape you into who you are today. I wouldn't be here today if I hadn't overcome all the struggles and challenges in my life. And now, I have achieved all my goals. I am, happily married with three beautiful kids. I am a chief information security officer, one of the few female CISOs out there in a large organization. And through my health struggles, which I thought at the time, I didn't even know if I was going to get out of those health struggles, or even make it alive, but I did. And now I founded my own holistic wellness practice where where I really learned all of these different natural modalities that help me, and how now I really want to help others across the world. I also really focused on my passion as well. So it wasn't just work, work, work. We really need to take some time to look at what our passions are in life. So my passion was dancing all my life. And I wanted to give back to the community, so I founded my own dance company, where I teach kids and adults different styles of dancing. And we perform at venues, major events, but also give back by serving the community. Through assisted living places, we perform for them, through charities. So I really feel like you can have it all, and looking at things from a holistic point of view, pursuing your passion, spending time with your family, having a family, and pursuing your career all can happen. Okay, so looking into my journey into cyber, um, there's a lot of questions out there on, how do we get into cyber? What are the important things to look for? How do we find jobs? And even as women, how do we even, what I've seen is that not a lot of women are interested, or they might just be a little scared. Because a lot of the things that are on TV or television or shows really don't paint a holistic uh, view of cyber. It isn't just a technical field. It is very broad, and some of the things that I learned on my journey into getting into cyber was I had a wonderful mentor and supervisor at the time that I got in about 2005. So it's been about 15 years or so. Um, Someone that really saw potential in me, even when I didn't see potential in myself, especially in fields like this. And that's really key in having someone in your life, especially a mentor or coach, even a supervisor, or even another comrade that sees something in you, especially at times that you don't. That's really key. And I had to really learn, what cyber was at that time. Really, it wasn't even called cyber; it was called information assurance at the time, and it was a very, somewhat of a new field. Not much out there. Everything that I found just showed me that it was very male dominated and didn't really seem like a field that I was really excited about. But the more I learned about it and I explored various different aspects of the cyber field, I really got a really good holistic view of all the different things that cyber involves. It's not just what they show on TV. Um, but in addition to that, I really had to spend some time in looking at my own skills and all the experiences that I had gathered so far, not just in the cyber field, but in other fields as well. I had done a lot of project management, training development, engineering, um, system administration. So I had a pretty broad range of experience and skills that I brought to the cyber field. And that's the wonderful aspect of cyber, that there's no cut and dry way of doing things, or there's no right or wrong. It's just so adaptable to different ways of doing things and different perspectives, and just the whole diversity of the people that are needed for it. The other thing I had to do was also keep my options open for opportunities. I was really lucky in that I already had a paid job, and this was something that I received training to do. And I know not everyone's in that particular situation right now, but we really have to keep our options open. Sometimes we have to look for unpaid internships or just volunteer type of roles. Or if you have a job that's not in cyber, but you're really kind of curious about it, and you're just finding ways to learn about it, talking to our supervisors and feeling open enough to do so, to ask for like on the job training or even cross training or volunteering in your in the cybersecurity team, and just learning a few hours a week. Those are really great options if you are leaning towards it, you're not 100% sure yet, or you're just curious about it, and just want to get some training and see where that takes you. Um, the most important aspect of cyber, actually, and also I truly believe in any job, is the soft skills. I found that to be key in pretty much everything I did in life. I wouldn't even call it soft skills, but that's how it's regarded in the field. I just use that term. But what I mean is the emotional IQ, the empathetic skills, the communication skills. Those are all, in my opinion, actually more important than the technical skills. The technical skills are great to have a concept of and to know, but unless you're really passionate about just purely being technical and that's the route you want to take, if you want to grow from there into leadership positions or becoming a chief information security officer one day, or any type of leadership position, it's more important and it's very key to have these types of non-technical skills, or as they say, the soft skills. And what really resonated with me was, in order to become a CISO or just a leader in this field and just a leader in technology itself, was that I really had to envision it first. I had to envision it. I had to believe that I can do it. And then I just had to let it happen, not be attached to the outcome, because nothing in life, or I wouldn't say nothing, but hardly anything happens exactly the way that you wanted to happen at the exact same time that you wanted to happen with the exact same situation. So envisioning what I wanted, believing in what I wanted, and then just letting go, and letting the universe take its take its toll and manifest that for you. I also had to look beyond my perceived limitations, and that's why I started with that from slide 1 itself. All of these limitations are just my own perception of my abilities. It doesn't make it fact. So I really had to just look at, what was out there, and then start applying for positions or start asking for what I wanted, even if I felt that, well, I might not be 100% qualified for this, or I might not fit 100% of the criteria, but that doesn't mean that I can't do it or I can't learn it. And just being amenable to doing that, which is really big for women. And we'll get to that in one of the future slides. Again, asking for what I wanted really takes a lot, or at least it took a lot for me, because as women, sometimes we're always so geared into helping others, doing things for others, giving a lot, especially for mothers. If you're a mom, you're always worried about or thinking for the family, or thinking for your kids, or what do they need to do, or what do they need for their own growth. And we don't spend a lot of time looking inward into self-care, or what do we need, and asking for that as well. There's been several times where I had to ask for what I wanted with my own supervisor. I had to ask for a promotion. I had to ask for the position that I truly felt that I deserved, and bringing my whole self to work. This is key, and I think for women and for men in any position. Often we go to work, or we compartmentalize our minds and our brains into thinking that, oh, we have a work side and then we have a family side, and they're just two separate, completely separate sides and nothing to do with each other. So we shouldn't bring our family thoughts and concerns or issues to work, and then we shouldn't bring our work to our family. And that's actually impossible to do, because both sides and any other side is all part of your whole self. So each part is all connected. The same way that your mind, body, and energy are connected, all the different aspects of you, your work aspect, your personal aspect, your parenting aspect, your social aspect, your financial aspect, they're all different parts of you, and they make you who you are. And so we have to become comfortable in bringing our whole self to work. And one thing that I probably didn't cover in the future slides is, when I talked about who I am and what I stand for in the first slide, being a wellness practitioner, being a dance director, being an author, and also being a CISO, I had to find a way. How do I bring all of that to my work? And I was able to be successful in doing that by starting a health and wellness program in my organization for people, because everyone goes through stress and anxiety, especially at times like this. And everyone could use health and wellness, easy tips, easy practices. So I built that program. I asked for it. I created it. Sometimes you have to, if something doesn't exist that you're looking for, you might have to be the pioneer and actually create it yourself. So I did that. I incorporated dancing into that too, as part of the wellness and fitness practice. And I love to write, so I started writing security blogs as well as wellness blogs. So I really found a way to bring my whole self to my organization, and back at in my personal life as well. The other aspect that I found was really key, and we talked about this at the soft skills topic, was communication. Communicating is just so key in many different fields, but especially in cyber. And especially as a CISO, or any type of cybersecurity professional, we really have to learn how to communicate effectively up, down, and all around. And what do we mean by that? It's not just communicating, let's say, to your subordinates or people that work for you. It's also being able to manage upwards and all around. So being a CISO, you have to learn how to communicate with different types of people, especially if you're in a healthcare organization, with doctors, with nurses, with financial representatives, with law enforcement possibly, with researchers, with scientists. Depending on your organization, there could be a slew of different types of stakeholders that you have to be able to communicate the value of cyber, and the risks of not doing cyber, and not just cyber, but in any position. I found that effective communications is really key to your success, and learning how to lead by being a role model yourself. No one really wants to work for someone or work with someone who preaches a lot to the choir but really never follows their own guidance or their own advice. So we really have to walk our talk and lead our people by being good role models ourselves. So let's take a closer look at the psychology of women and also the psychology of cyber. So what is our role in cyber? So we talked a little bit about this earlier, cracking the female code. There is something called the Imposter Syndrome, where men and boys do go through this as well, but it's predominant in girls and women, and girls starting from a very young age, from school age itself, where they do not, as women, we don't feel confident unless we've met like 100% of the criteria. And this is really prevalent in applying for jobs. If we see that a job entails 10 criteria and we meet 8 of them, we may still not apply as women because we feel that, the last 2, we don't meet 20% of that criteria, so we're not good enough for the job. Versus the way that males are wired, even if they meet just 20% of the criteria, they feel like they still have a chance and they would still apply. And why do I stress that? It's because if we don't even apply for jobs, there's no chance that we're going to even get the job to begin with. So we're actually just shooting ourselves in the foot by doing that. And that comes from a very young age. It's not something that we can look at even from a college age. It's even from a grade school age, where girls are they're not very as society and culture, from family culture as well as school culture, they're not encouraged to take risks especially in the STEM arts and the STEM fields. If they try it and then they feel like it's a little too hard, there's not a whole lot of encouragement to enable them to keep going and to keep trying, and it's okay to fail. And they often tend to look at themselves as failures just because they tried something once and didn't work. Women also have a need to connect with people. It's not just a want or a nice to have. It's a need that women have within themselves, that they have to feel connected to the mission, to the people, to what they're doing. And as men, they're often they're wired to solve the problem, not necessarily to bond or to connect, with other men or even with them. As a team, if there's a problem, they just want to solve it and move on. For women, we like to talk about things. We like to talk about solutions, talk about ideas, and because that's where our way of connecting. We also really love the process or the path to achieving a goal. We're not completely focused on just achieving the goal and that's it and move on. We really learn and we cherish the path to getting to that goal to begin with, which is slightly different for men, where they're focused on just reaching their goal, achieving their goal, and then moving on. Again, the imposter syndrome. So this all comes down to identifying our self-worth and feeling and basically cherishing our self-worth. So and that goes for any women, including me. So even after I achieved the positions that I really wanted, there was always a sense or a small part of me that doubted, do I deserve this? Am I good enough for this? How did I get this? Was it by luck or was it by fluke? And just having that doubt, and I really had to spend a lot of time looking within to overcome that imposter syndrome and really feel that yes, I did deserve this and I earned it and I worked hard for it and I manifested it. We also tend to personalize and feel emotions and we like to talk through them, and sometimes that can come off as that can be perceived as being weak. So a lot of women or females out there tend to hold in our emotions, especially on the work side. We often get perceived for, if you're emotional at work, then that might be perceived as a bad thing, or that you're weak and you're not tough enough to handle it, and that's very detrimental to us, because as women who are coming truly from our feminine personality, emotions are just part of who we are. But through this society and culture and our work atmospheres, we have since then kind of bottled up our emotions, and we feel that we can't show it freely because we have to put on this masculine mask. So really looking at that and getting comfortable with bringing our true, authentic, feminine selves into any situation, even at work, is key. We also need the ability, we've talked about this earlier, to just think through the details and just talk through them, because by talking, that's how we come up with different strategies, different avenues, and different ideas that we can then ponder. Versus on the male side, they're mostly wired to come up with a solution and move on, because in their ideas sometimes it's you really don't have to talk about everything. Let's just here's brought up a topic, let's just finish it and move on. Versus for women, we kind of have to have that ability, and we have a need to think through things and then come up with the process and the journey to get to our goals. Okay, so looking at the cyber field, we know that it is predominantly male dominated right now, but then we also need to look at all the other aspects of diversity and just understanding diversity for what it is. It's not just a gender thing. It's not even just a race thing. There's so many different aspects of diversity. There's thinking style, perspectives. I spoke earlier about experiences and skills, your culture, not just your ethnic culture, but also what was the culture when you were growing up? What was the culture in your school? What was the culture in your environment? What's your social culture? All of that really makes you you, and there's so many different aspects of diversity that are often missed out on. But it's key to a good organization and a good working environment to make it more successful. So let's look at the role that diversity plays in cyber. And what is the value of diversity? There's been plenty of studies and science out there that really shows that having a diverse team, using all of these different factors that we just went over, increases creativity. The more diverse experiences that your team has and skills and the culture, really you can get a lot more creative solutions and creative ways of thinking instead of just you're stuck in a little box and you're all thinking the same way, which doesn't really lead to a good working team. It also enhances your decision making skills. By combining all of these different perspectives together, we can make better decisions. Increases productivity and innovation. But the one thing, and also happiness and a sense of togetherness on a team. The one thing that I wanted to call out is diversity actually enhances the ability for a team to look at different opinions and different thought processes of the various people on the team, and then make a better decision out of that. And what do I mean by that? Often people look at adversity or a difference of opinion as being adverse. And then they shy away from that. Oh, you don't think like me, therefore you're wrong. Or you're detrimental to the group. And actually, it can be quite the opposite. By having someone think differently than you, you're actually raising or increasing your own perceptions and your own view of the world. So it's actually a great thing that you can have. And all of these are really needed in the cyber field today. So let's take a quick look at the world of opportunities in cyber itself. Often, as I said before, cyber is thought as a purely technical field, and there are different aspects within the cyber field that are technical, and I listed some of those on the left side. But there are also areas that may not be so technical, and all of these are part of the cyber field. You could be a technical writer that writes about security. You could be a business analyst, a vulnerability analysis, even looking at security and privacy in terms of contracts, or you could do incident response. There's a whole lot that may not be. They may have some aspect of technical jargon in them, but it's not the only aspect of it. There's much, it can get much bigger and broader, and especially if you want to be in a leadership position in cyber, as the CISO or the security manager. In that role, it definitely involves a lot more than just the technical aspect. It involves, actually 80% of it is the soft skills, your communication skills, your ability to ask for what you need in a way that another person can relate to it, especially when it comes to asking for funding. If you're a CISO and you're asking for funding from a CFO or CIO or from a director, you really had to learn how to manage up and also be able to communicate with them in a way that resonates with them, not necessarily with you. Okay, and the top skills that I really feel that really needs to be mastered to become a cyber leader or CISO is leadership. And what do we need to do to get there? You know, we start with communication. We look at different aspects of risk management, business knowledge. So a CISO back in the day, maybe 10, 15 years ago, probably was very technical and security oriented, but not so much relationship management and communication. But this role is changing by the day, and it's really moving towards the green arrow, to be an actual leader in all aspects, not just in cyber, but to be a good leader. And what does that mean? Communication skills. It means the ability to think strategically, having knowledge of the business itself, and looking at everything from a holistic risk management view. Oftentimes, security professionals tend to look at things and put band-aid fixes on them. Oh, here's an issue that came up. Let's throw a tool at it, or let's throw some money at it. We really have to look at things from a holistic point of view and from a risk management point of view. What is the overall risk? What is the impact? And what do we really need to do? Do we need to establish processes? Do we need to empower our people to do the right thing? And it really does take all of us in cyber. We're really starting to change the game on cyber. All these years it was looked at as just the cybersecurity professionals' jobs, or maybe the technical teams' jobs, or the CIOs. And we can only make so much progress from that type of perspective. What we're really trying to do now, and what I'm really passionate about doing, is looking at cyber from a holistic and a collaborative and a community point of view. We really need all of us to play a part in it, especially in an organization. We need every single person to do their job in cyber, and also at home as well. Getting our kids interested in it, our girls interested in it, looking for cross training opportunities, and not being afraid of volunteering. But also the key is looking for mentors, role models that you can use, and that see the potential in you, and might offer some opportunities that you might not even know existed. And also looking at other fields as well that you can maybe start with, and then slowly move into cyber, or maybe do a few hours of cyber as you're doing your other jobs as well. So this is mostly for organizations. I know a lot of organizations look for experienced cyber professionals in their organizations, and with the shortage of cyber personnel across the world, we really need to open our eyes and think outside the box for organizations as well. So similar to what I was suggesting for individuals, organizations should also consider hiring like internships, interns, college students, even high school students for paid or for volunteer positions. And looking for on-the-job or cross-training staff. I do this a lot in my organization. Wherever there's an interest, trying to provide them with a detail opportunity or cross-training opportunities, and training all of our staff on cyber. Again, it does take all of us. And workforce development. So this was key, and not just a health and wellness standpoint, but also from a cyber standpoint. Offering flexible schedules, incentives, wellness programs. It goes back to bringing the wellness into the workplace, offering diversity education, different types of employee engagement opportunities, and really factoring in the whole person type of holistic approach to keeping our employees happy and successful and healthy. All right. Well, that was the end of my presentation. I hope everyone was able to get a small nugget out of that you may not have had before. I would love to hear about it. And if you have any further questions after this webinar, you can feel free to reach me in my email or on my website, jyotidugar.com.